Well, we went to bed as normal and thought that we'd locked the doors. But obviously we hadn't. We discovered, later on. In the very early morning, around 5, the doorbell rang, so we came down, and there's a policeman there, and our front door was wide open, and he basically almost straight away radioed, this is confirmed burglary, and then so we just sort of dawned on us what had happened.
I mean, we used to commit so many crimes, and that's why we used to get arrested so many times, because we wouldn't commit 1 or 2 crimes in a day. We'd be committing about 20, 30 crimes in a day, whether it was petty little shoplifting and swearing at people or what, but there was always a trail, so the police just followed the calls, and that's what we was, you know what I mean? We was just, I don't even know how to describe what we was.
And realised they'd basically come in and out quite quickly, and they'd taken my car, which is how they got caught, because they were burglaring somewhere else, and had my car round the corner with all the doors open, which is how they alerted the police to them in the first place.
There was quite a bit of loss of personal items and all the paperwork involved with trying to get cards and driving licences replaced, and it ends up being quite a lot of work, which you kind of think, well, this is annoying,
The worst thing I think was that my older daughter was quite upset about the fact that, because she was old enough to understand, what had happened, and that someone had come in, people had come in and in the night and taken stuff, and she was worried, and it took her quite a long time to stop being worried about them at night when she went to sleep. It's terrifying to think that the children could have woken up, or we could have woken up and come down and had found them here, and who knows what would have happened then.
It's about giving a voice to the victim so they can articulate how they feel, and ask questions. What is it? Why is it? Do you know how you made me feel? So it's really giving that victim a voice to talk to the offender and talk about that day and hopefully move on.
And it was quite upsetting to hear that obviously 2 years later the woman still has nightmares, and obviously one of the kids in the house still does as well or something, but I didn't know there was kids in the house. Obviously it doesn't make a difference. I mean, at the time, if someone told me there was kids in the house, then I wouldn't have done the burglary. Not that makes it any better.
I'm very pleased to hear that he felt bad about what happened, and that he felt sorry about the fact that there were children in the house. Apparently that he's expressed some concern about giving the children nightmares, which is what you would hope for, really, that just for people to be aware of how these things can hurt or harm others, really.
There's also 2 sides to a story. You always have the victim, how they see what happened, and how the offender saw the events of that day. So actually hearing, sometimes, it's, wow, I didn't know that. You actually did that, or you went in that. So it has even a deeper closure for those victims.
I've got some questions, I've wanted to, because we'd presumed that they had been just hopping over, because there's an alleyway at the back of our house, and that they must have just hopped over and probably tried all the back doors along our road. I suppose I would like to check that was what happened, rather than the idea of them watching our house or something is much scarier. Who knows? Maybe it will help heal some wounds.
I think it is positive for us to acknowledge his side of things and his story, and give him a chance to to if he feels sorry, or just that he doesn't want to be doing that kind of thing anymore. It doesn't change what happened, but it's a move in the right direction for everyone, hopefully.
My stomach's going to go, I know that, and it's going to be, I don't know what I'm going to feel. It's like I say, it's that look when they look at me, you can tell what people think, but I'm hoping the questions they've asked and the answers I've given already, they seem like nice people, to be honest with you, so I don't think they want to make me feel bad. I think they just want an understanding of why.
What I'd like to do, Ollie, is speak about the events that led up to the offence itself and then the offence itself of that evening, in your words.
Come up with a plan that night to go out and get some money somehow. We come to a hairdresser's and tried breaking in. Someone come out, so we left, and that's when we stopped. But we went to our friend's house, who actually just lived around the corner from your address, and we walked up the road. It was me actually that walked up to your door, pushed the handle down, and it opened. I found the car keys, but I can't drive, so I give them to my friend. And that was the original thing why we went out at 4 to get a car. On the way up, I think someone else who I was with grabbed the TV and we drove to the hairdressers to do that again. But as I went outside, the police car came in the back and the police called me and then went into the interview. And obviously I just admitted and took full responsibility for what in there. And then I got sentenced to 2.5 years in prison.
First of all, I was just really worried, because of my children. I just thought, have they gone in there? But I think it seemed pretty obvious that they'd just always stayed downstairs. Is that right?
Yeah, it didn't. The burglary itself wasn't for valuables. It was literally to get a car.
Seeing you in the flash and thinking about it all just upsets me, just thinking about what could have happened. And luckily, I'm just really happy that it didn't, that my children didn't go through that. Even so, they were obviously my older one. My younger one was too young to understand what happened afterwards. But my older one was, quite upset for a long time. She didn't want to go to sleep. She was worried about burglars coming and things. So.
There's a lot of things that I was annoyed about, but it wasn't like I was scarred by it. I thought you came in through the back door.
No, it was the front door and it just...
Must have not been pushed closed properly or something.
I just literally, I pushed the handle and it opened, so I couldn't tell you on that.
Yeah, well that's funny because the whole time we've assumed that you hopped over the fence and came through the back door, which we'd forgotten to lock that night, but I think Zoe made a point that it made him feel quite unsettled. It took longer to send him. I suppose you sort of feel a bit like your local environment is that bit more hostile than you thought before, sort of thing.
Mm.
The main reason of changing my ways and the group and everything is down to my father, because he's been there my whole life. He brought me up on his own and single parent, and he didn't want this life for me. So I know now, at this point in time, if I don't change my ways now, then you probably never will. Do I feel bad? Yeah. Am I ashamed of it? Yeah, I am.
I think that's brilliant to hear you say that, and that's why that is completely my reason for wanting to do this. I didn't feel the need that I wanted you to say sorry to us. It is.
I am.
Yeah, I know, and that's great. But I'm doing. I think our reason for wanting to do it was because it was just great to hear that you wanted to say sorry and that you wanted to change your life.
I was going down a dark route at that time. Yeah, not falling out with everyone and not being friends with them. Yeah, it's a blessing because I don't care for them, and they're all back in prison now and they're all doing the same stuff. And I always knew, my dad's always told me, I always knew what the right choice was, but never chose it.
You've listened to everyone and heard how they've been affected by what you did and the harm that you've caused to them. Is there anything you wish to say?
Well, obviously it's cheap, and obviously I am sorry, and it doesn't make any difference, but if I'd known there was kids in the address, or if I opened that front door and see, I wouldn't have went in, whether or not the other two would have, but it's just literally a random act of stupidness that's affected your whole lives, and I just, I regret it so much, but I can't take that back.
It's quite good to meet you and hear your story and sort of know that you feel sorry that you're a real person as well.
Deepest apologies, and even though that doesn't necessarily mean or do anything.
Yeah, it's nice to
But
hear you say
it's, like I said then, if there is anything, that could not make it up up to you, but you know, a step. You know, I'll do whatever it takes to make you feel a bit better. You know, whatever you need, really. You know, don't matter if it's bloody washing your car out or something. You know what I mean? Or something. You know, I'm just saying. You know.
Shake hands.
I'd like to go for a pint with you at that time, but
Make sure he pays for it.
Yeah, it was quite emotional and actually meeting him to me. I felt quite nervous coming in, but it's good to hear his side of what happened and just to hear how much he is sorry to see. I think he really can understand the impact that it has on people's lives, and you know, especially in regard to my children.
I think Ollie was really, really honest. He was clearly nervous. I think he was really remorseful and honestly remorseful.
People were saying, "Oh, well, this is closure for me." I just wanted to give them some closure if they had any questions and that. So I hope I hope it's helped them.
Yeah, I feel like it was really positive to hear his situation and what led him to that night, and see how much he's changed. I mean, not like knew him before, but obviously you can just see in him that he's grown up and he's understood what he's done really, and that he's just seemed really remorseful over it, and that's great. Yeah.